Hi guys, I'm Aditya, as you all know. This is today another video that we're doing with Jeena, and she's Jeena from Jeena Talks Money. She is a veteran physiotherapist working in Stockport, and in this video, we're going to change our lining of conversation towards the finance aspect of being in the UK. Jeena is a long-term investor, and she's quite interested in everything that's got to do with money and it's a bit different from what we usually do, but there's so much to cover and we'll make a few more videos with regards to this. And today we'll start off with a few small topics that will be helpful to everybody. And I'll leave it to Gina to introduce herself and then take it from there.
Hi guys, my name is Jeena, and I have a little YouTube channel called Jeena Talks Money. I'm a physiotherapist, like Aditya just said. I'm a physiotherapist working in our lovely NHS, and but I have a real keen interest for all things money, whether it's saving or investing money, and that's what my channel is all about.
Good. That's very interesting, and everybody who needs more advice with regards to this should head to her channel. She's got a few videos with regards to this. Today, we're going to be covering some basic things that I think every person questions once they land into the country. The most important thing that almost everybody asks is how and when to open a bank account. And I think that's something that Gina will start off with telling us. So the first thing, Gina, that we all want to know is when is the right time to open a bank account when you come to UK?
Everything's sort of linked to your bank account, isn't it? Your bills, everyone wants your bills to come out of a current account. There's no cash in hand, so your employer will want you to give you a pay into a current account as well. So current account is almost an immediate thing, isn't it? As soon as you come to the UK.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the most important things that you need to sort out. Uh, a bank account works not just helps you manage your money, but then it's also your proof of address, your proof of residence in the UK, and it's the most important document. So, how would you go about choosing the best bank?
There's there's in UK there's something called the FSCS regulation, wherein all your money is secure up to £85,000. So all banks, all high street banks and online banks have it. So that's the only thing you need to look at, which most bank has if there's an FSCS regulation. That just says it is a regulated bank by the UK government and your money is safe. Um, but if the bank has got FSCS, then all the banks are more or less similar. So whether it is a high street bank or a app only bank, all the banks are more or less similar. Then you just pick on what you fancy. So Monzo and Starling is a bank. It's an app only based bank, and that use tends to be what most new starters like to do, only because it's easier to set up. High street banks want more paperwork and regulation, whereas the app only banks, it's easier to set up just with the app. So that is Starling and Monzo.
Right.
They also have very nice features like budgeting and things. So it's a very new, innovative technology that's come about only in the last year, 18 months.
Mhm.
But that is a very nice bank, Starling and Monzo for new starters. And it's quite easy to set up. I've heard it can be set up within 2 to 3 days of applying.
So,
And you don't
so
have
what
to.
I've seen, yes, is that the advantage of these banks are exactly what you said, that you don't need a lot of documentation, and they are online only banks. They don't have any physical presence in the UK. So for some people, while it's easier for immigrants to come in and open that account, but a lot of people would are a bit apprehensive because they don't have a branch at the end of the day. Does that matter? Do you think?
Branches are going from the high street. If you compare, I've been here about 16 17 years, and just on our high street we used to have about 8 or 9 banks when I first came, and now there's only about two local banks. So banks are going from the high street, whether you like it or not, and most even high street banks are becoming app based. So
Well, that's true. I mean, I think going back in time in the last couple of years, I have had to go to the bank for a few things, and I would have wished that I would not have had that experience. But I would say that yes, I think this is something for the future. So, what are the other tips that you think, with regards to your opinions on opening a bank account?
Then it falls down to, because if your money is protected, then it falls down to what you fancy. So for new starters, like I said, Monzo and Starling is a good option. Also, people who like to budget and things, Monzo and
Mhm.
Starling have got little things called spaces where you can put little pots of money. Like, say, say for example, if like some people like to save away for a holiday, and um, maybe yeah, little pots of money that you put aside for your savings, or if you're saving for a car or something, you start putting away little pots of money. But you can do all that in Monzo itself, or in Starling itself, have little spaces, so it's very good for budgeting as well.
Mhm.
So once your one bank account is sorted, then you perhaps want to get a little bit more clever with your approach. The other option for people who pay bills. So this is not people who are sharing accommodation and are not
Mhm.
responsible for bills. But if you're sharing, if you pay your household bills, then Santander 123 Light account is a very good option to have alongside another bank.
Mhm.
They give you cash back on your bill. So they give you 1% for your mobile bill, 2% for your council tax bill. So if you pay all these things, you get a little bit of cash back. They have a £2 charge each month,
Mhm.
but if all your bills go out of this account, you easily get about £4 or £5 back each month after the £2 charge. So that might be something you want to consider further down the line.
I guess if you're here for a longer time, it is something that would work for you in the long run and save, bit by bit. Uh,
Yeah, bit by bit, definitely.
Absolutely. All right. And what about packaged accounts?
Again, this is a first step on from after you get some cash back for your bills, because you're paying your bills anyway, so you might as well get a little bit of cash back on it, I suppose. The package account is a little further of a step up. There's Nationwide has it, Barclays has it. So you pay a certain amount a month. So I have a Nationwide bank account that charges £13 a month,
Mhm.
and you with that you get mobile phone insurance, which is not absolutely necessary, but travel insurance is quite
Mhm.
important when we all get traveling, I suppose. But when we get traveling, travel insurance is very worth the while, because it's not only for you, it's for your family as well.
Mhm.
And also breakdown cover. So if you have one or two cars in the family, it's only £13 a month for travel insurance as well as breakdown cover. So that is a very good option to progress to, not immediately, but to progress to.
That's absolutely right. So, do you think if you get things like a breakdown cover, would you necessarily want to spend money on AA, or
No, so I have my breakdown covered through my bank account, through my package bank account. So I do not pay for that separate.
that makes sense? You're saving money at the end of the day.
And it's only £13 a month. So if you go to RAC and AA, it's tends to be slightly more premium. And yeah, so it's £13 a month for the whole family. So yeah, it works out if you calculate, see if it works out for your family. Make the calculation and see if it works out for your family. Because if you have one car, maybe it may not be worthwhile, and things like that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, what about any other offers or perks that you think banks are offering? Is there something that any should keep an eye out for?
There's something that anybody should do, really. Uh, Again, I've done it just in this last year. I've probably got about 400, £500 just by bank switching.
Mhm.
And banks give you, say, £100 for switching. So currently there's HSBC offering it, there's Halifax offering switching services, there's Virgin offering some wine and things. So the banks sort of pay you for switching to them. So I wouldn't use that as my primary bank account. My primary bank account always remains my primary bank account. I have a separate bank account that I only use for switching. So my main bank account still stays the same, and that does not affect my credit score. And then I just make every 6 months I just keep moving this switching bank account and make use of the banking perks.
That's true. That's a smart thing to do, and I think that's one of the advantages of having multiple accounts as well, isn't it? What else do you think is if you have multiple accounts, does that benefit you a lot in other ways?
I believe everyone should have at least two bank accounts. I don't know if you had heard about 18 months ago, Aditya, there was TSB had a big problem, at least for a week, 10 days, the whole banking system was down. the whole banking system. So whoever their end users had really struggled if that was their only bank. So I believe everyone should have, and it was a banking glitch, and I suppose it is a one-off event, but it could happen. I suppose it has happened.
Mm.
So it's always good to have a spare bank account in case something goes wrong with one account. You always have some money to access.
That's true. I think that's also one of the reasons when why people invest in other commodities like gold as well. I think one of the reasons that a friend of mine who is an ardent investor in gold said that he wants to invest simply because he doesn't believe in the banks that they're going to last. So, well,
I
that's
think
one way to think about it.
if the banks don't last, I think we'll have that is economies of all the world throughout the world. I think we'll have more problems than just holding on to gold.
That's right. That's right. Okay, and so the next thing that I think we should talk about is probably your credit score. So what is the credit score? That's the first thing that you need to tell most people, because a lot of people get their credit cards for the first time when they come to UK.
uh, Credit score is seeing how credit worthy you are. If the bank is willing, if the bank looks at this, how credit worthy you are, to see if you will repay their money back. So
Mm.
if it is a housing loan, like a mortgage or a car loan or a credit card, so mm, uh, any sort of loan from the bank, they want to see how likely you are to repay this amount back. So there's loads of free websites that you can register to get your credit score. So it's very important to keep an eye on your credit score, because credit scores not only tells you how much money they will lend to you, but also the interest rate they will lend to you at. So if it's a mortgage, if they lend it to you at just 1% more than a person B who's got an excellent credit score, that 1% over 25 years can be a massive amount.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
so always keep an eye on your credit score. Especially, I keep saying, I've got multiple bank accounts, but I always time my applications. I make sure I do not apply. I leave at least 6 months gap before applying for each credit product, because even with a bank account, your credit checked. So always space out your credit applications. And if you know you're coming in line for a mortgage, or if you're coming in line for if you know you want to apply for a loan or something, make sure you keep your credit score clear for at least 6 to 8 months beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
So
Is
don't apply for that bank account to give that £100 perk, then hold on to that.
Absolutely. So how long do you think your credit score has to be? You need to make it clear enough for you to apply for a big investment such as a mortgage. Because do you think something 2 years ago, is that going to prevent you from getting a mortgage?
There's so many factors they look at. If you apply for several things all in a short space of time, that tells the banker, the person who wants to loan the money to you, that you're desperate for credit. So try and space out your
Mhm.
applications. Generally, do not apply all in one go, and at least 6 months beforehand, do not try and keep it as clear as possible, obviously, because even little things like switching electricity and things takes a hit on the credit score, but that you cannot avoid. So avoid the avoidable applications. Yeah, so look
Perfect.
after your credit score, because especially with the mortgage, if it's just a 1% difference can make a big sum difference.
Another question I think that pops to my mind, and a lot of people ask, is does checking your credit score reduce it every time you do it?
No. No, you should monitor it, in fact, every year, because you'd never know if there's any. There's lots of frauds and things happening where people steal your identity and things. Or there might be things that you're not aware of on your credit score. So it's very important to check it at least once a year, and more often if you're preparing for a big credit application like a mortgage and things.
Mm, absolutely right. Perfect. So that's all about credit score that we need to know for now. What about other things with regards to your bank? Anything else?
Yeah, like I said, it's good to have multiple bank accounts and look after your credit score when you're applying for multiple bank accounts. And you can have as many bank accounts as you want. You don't have to have just the one bank account. And consider notifications. if you're like me who's got multiple bank accounts, some of them I have it only for the perks or the freebies that comes with the bank. So I do not monitor it on a daily basis. So things like frauds and things can happen, or I set up some direct debits and try and make sure there's money in it. But in case I miss the odd payment, I always get a notification. So try and set up notifications so you never overdrawn on things, because currently the if you're overdrawn, it's 40% interest on if you go into overdraft. So very
Okay.
high charges. So set up a notification that's easily rectified, isn't it?
Absolutely. And
And
go on.
depositing a check, Aditya, like you said, there's high street banks are disappearing on a daily basis. And with the app only banks, you may be worried of how you get deposit a check, although we don't get a lot of checks these days. But the other day I got a check, like I switched a mobile contract, and there was about a
Mhm.
£4 check that come to my account. So there's so many uh, um, banks now that can have an app, and you can actually deposit a check on the app. Just take a photograph on it. So big high street banks have that. Even Starling has that. Also, the post office also has a banking feature, so you can
Mhm.
deposit checks of certain banks. So look at the post office website of certain banks. Always you can deposit checks in the post office as well. So that might be something to have in mind. So if you're a couple, make sure at least you have one bank that you can submit a check on your mobile, or deposit in the post office.
Well,
Because
I agree with you. I think from my experience, HSBC is mostly going towards an online, and you can easily deposit checks. Just click a picture through the app, and money comes through in a couple of days. That's absolutely perfect. The other things that we're going to talk about today is money saving apps. I think if you're here for the long run in UK for a few years, if you calculate the amount of money that you spent splurging on day to day things of living, then it comes out to be a significant amount. So if you're saving it from day one using these apps, it can be helpful. As you said, from a point of view from a long term investor. So what are the apps that you think are useful for people?
none of these apps are going to make you rich. It's just a little bit of cash back for
Yeah.
your normal spending. So do not spend only to get the cash back. But it's a good thing to have on the side, I suppose. The first app, Too Good to all these are free apps that you can download on your phone. Too Good to Go is to reduce food waste. It's initiated by all the major supermarkets initially. So things that is going out of date in the supermarket, they have the reduced sticker aisle, but they also have something called Too Good to Go. So it is just a mystery bag of all the things that is put in, and you get it for very cheap. You get it for £3-4. So you can get loads of fruit and veg that is going out of date that day. And we being raised in India, we don't go by expiry dates for fruit and veg, and even bakeries and things. So they get nice cakes and things. So cakes that is going being out of date that day, they sell it at a very reduced price. Even M&S food, they have Too Good to Go mystery bag. So it's
Oh,
a
really?
mystery bag. You can't pick and choose. It's
Exactly.
just what you get.
Just what you get. Well, they do have, I think, all of these big, branches like Sainsbury's and M&S. They do sell their products at a reduced price if they're on expiry on the same day. But it's good to know that you can get some goodies through, at a cheaper rate, and you're saving the planet as well in some way,
Yeah,
at least
you
contributing to something.
yeah.
Good. The other app that you mentioned is the petrol prices.
Yeah, petrol prices is we all have our favorite petrol pump to go to fill petrol. But now, if hopefully we all are going to get traveling soon and exploring new places, especially if you're on the motorway, and motorway prices, are expensive for filling petrol. But sometimes if you go on this app, you'll find probably half a mile down the road, it is for 20-25p cheaper than the petrol price there. You may want to just veer off, so that the app tells you where the closest petrol station is, and the next closest petrol station, and the prices on that station as well. And it's
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I learned it the hard way. I never knew that petrol prices were higher over the motorway until one day when I had to go and get my tank filled. and I realized this is the money I'm paying is so much more than what I usually do.
Petrol
But
pricing.
absolutely, it's something that I think is going to be helpful for everybody. And the other thing you mentioned is Lidl and McDonald's app. Yeah, is that for loyalty points?
Again, all banks say all supermarkets have their loyalty point, but with Little, it's a relatively new app, and they give you a lot of cash back. So just as soon as you register
Mhm.
for the Little app, they give you a £5 voucher to spend in store. And if you're a regular shopper at Little, so if that's a supermarket you go to, it's really a no brainer. If you spend £200 a month, which you would for your normal shop. Uh, if you spend £200, you get £12 cash back each month, and then you get like little freebies for your birthday and things like that. So again, £12 each month and it's little is not expensive to start off, and you're getting £12 cash back. So it's a very worthwhile app to have.
From my experience, what I usually use is Sainsbury, and I use a Nectar card, which also works in a lot of petrol pumps around. I understand. I think Esso is one of them that gives you points on Nectar card. Um, right, and the other thing you've mentioned is Airtime Rewards. What's that for?
Airtime Rewards. This is another app, free app. Is one of my favorite apps. This you register your spending card, whatever you normally spend on your credit card or a debit card.
Mhm.
Register it on the app, and then if you spend, they've got certain retailers that is on the app. So there's Boots, there's Morrison's, there is. Morrison's, Boots, Wilco. So very normal everyday Argos. So normal everyday shops, and then some fancier shops as well. But if you spend in that shop, just and pay normally as you would with your credit card, the cashback automatically comes onto your app.
Oh, that's good. And do you think is it a good amount for cashback if you?
Yeah, it's for Boots it's 5%. For Argos it's 3%. So each retailer has their own percentage of cashback. Even
Mhm.
Primark doesn't give cashback to anybody. Even Primark has got 3% cashback on that app. So it's just normal everyday shops that most of us use, and you get a little bit of cashback.
That's very useful. The last, I think, app that I would mention is the Spree app through health service discounts. Essentially, health service discounts have launched this Spree card, which is similar to an Airtime Rewards. The difference is, I think, the health service discounts card is you need to have an NHS email ID for to access it, and once you do it, you can request for uh, a card, which is essentially like a debit card, and they send it to your place for free, and you top it up. That's an extra step that you have to do. You have to top it up every time you want to spend money in it, and but you can swipe it and use it just like any other debit card, and it's contactless as well now. And the advantage of doing that is that like Airtime Rewards, a lot of the general shopping that you would do from a day-to-day basis have cashback points on the same. Sainsbury's has 3%, Morrison's is, I guess, the same. Some stores give cashback up to 12% as well, including food stores like some pizza places. So there's quite a few things that you can use it for. uh,
Is it only certain retailers then? It's new to me, this free app. Is
it
it?
is it is specific retailers, not everybody. So they have a list that they keep updating every few months, depending on whether they're still part of the program.
If there is, from what I've known in the past, if there is a middleman, so now Spree is like a middleman for a debit card, so you lose your statutory rights if the company, like say, if you were to pay for I don't know, for a big appliance like a TV, for
Mhm.
example, and the TV goes faulty, if you then if you buy it from say John Lewis is liable, but if
Mhm.
they wash their hands, then you can claim it off your credit card if you pay it
Mm.
on your credit card. But if you use a middle card, then you lose your statutory rights. So again, for normal everyday spending, I suppose it's okay. But if you're buying something big and substantial, I think maybe still use your primary
Yeah,
card.
absolutely. That's absolutely right. So it's, I think, useful mostly for your day-to-day shopping. I would say that's the best thing that you would use it for. That's what I've been using it for. That's
I'll have
good.
to look into that. That's new to me. I'll have to look into it.
Good. So it's I'm surprised I have something to add to this
No, no,
conversation.
goodness, we all are forever learning, aren't we?
Perfect, perfect. I think it's been a while, and we've covered a lot today with regards to bank accounts and some apps that can help save us money. We're going to keep this going, and we can make a few more videos on a few more topics with regards to investing and long-term finance. And as Jeena has said, Jeena talks money, so we can talk a lot more about money in the coming videos. For the timing, I think I'm going to cut it there. Right. It
Yes.
was
Thank
good
you very
talking
much.
to you, Gina.
Nice talking to you as well, Aditya.
Right. Thanks.
Bye.